Chapter 1: Hard Times Create Strong Men. On June 6, 1944, America led the largest land-sea invasion in history to storm the beaches of Normandy in France and take back Europe from Hitler and the unstoppable Nazi war machine. Young men, 15, 16, and 17, too young to fight but lied about their ages to defend their country, crammed 36 at a time into the rickety Higgins boats made of wood and metal to fight an uphill battle against the seasoned Nazi war veterans who'd blitzkrieged across Europe and who had violently brought Europe to its knees. The young men were scared, and some vomited before the front door of the Higgins boat would open and display the beach of death ahead. Their guns were wrapped in plastic to keep the gunpowder dry so they could still swim through the water onto dry land and fire a bullet when the time came. Some of the boats exploded on water mines before reaching the shore, killing the young men inside. Some boats were riddled with machine gun fire before landing, tearing up the young men into a bloody box of death. Other boats would be strafed by Nazi planes where the bullets pierced through the bodies and sunk the boat, drowning all of them inside. Some of the boats would reach the shore where scores and scores of young men were mutilated by Nazi machine gun fire. Still, the young Allied men had to press on. They had to move forward. They had to storm the beaches and kill their enemies. Or they knew that eventually the Nazis would storm their Allied beaches and kill them. It was us or them. 209,000 Allied men died that day taking the beach, and they didn't stop when their best friend was gunned down. They didn't stop when the rest of the platoon was lit on fire by a flamethrower. They didn't stop when their boat couldn't land and they had to swim to shore. They stopped at nothing less than victory. I read a short poem online today and it read, "Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times." G. Michael Hoff. The poem struck me as I read it, as though it were manna from the mouth of God or divine truth. Truth lasts throughout history. Truth lasts the test of time. Lies and deceit fall away, but the truth always remains. This poem represents the circle of life, the cycles of history. What goes up must come down. The rise and fall of empires, the rise and fall of men, the rise and fall of power, which eventually gives way to weakness. The words are visceral, and you can feel them in your guts. And even just the phrase, "hard times create strong men," appeals to anyone and everyone who has ever faced a hard time and had to be strong.